well, the perfect weekend for Rossi will be Rossi on the front row, Rossi in front of Jorge into turn one, and then like a straight out just battle between the two for the race win.
Wait a minute. Rossi on the front row is not a perfect weekend. That's a dream weekend for Rossi. All right? Dream weekend for Rossi, all right? Dream weekend for Rossi, all right? Dream weekend for Rossi.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 13th episode of the CRC Podcast, lucky number 13. This is the Kevin and Rob show once again because Dennis has decided to not join us at the very last minute. But it's all good. We're actually going to switch things up a little bit today and probably just do the Kevin show. As everyone knows already, Rossi won the last race, and I'm pretty sure the Mad Italian over here really wants to get things going. So, Kevin, what do you got?
It was so much more than winning a race. At the Cathedral of Speed, the final Saturday race, 80-plus years of tradition, we needed to be delivered from evil. Under the tyrannical rule of Jorge Lorenzo, the devil himself, the gods of MotoGP needed a sacrifice. And who better than to sacrifice himself for the greater good of the MotoGP fandom than Kevin 714, the most prolific poster in BARF history. But little does anyone know, or it was clear as the helmet on his head, that the actual gods of MotoGP were not gods, but one god, Rossi himself. And ye, thy god, is an old god, and he demands human sacrifice. So sacrifice took place on BARF 10 days ago when a self-immolation of said prolific poster took place. Sacrificing his digital self so that Rossi may have mana to face the onslaught of demons that were threatening the fun that is MotoGP. Right, Bar? Right, Rob?
I don't even know if I should jump in here.
No, no one wants to hear you. Everyone wants to hear the speech about deliverance from evil, about good triumphing over evil and excitement triumphing over boredom.
Wait,
how did such a divine...
Are you listing Jorge and Marquez as evil here?
Everyone but Rossi is evil. Everyone. Except for maybe Iannone, who's the disciple of the one true God, thy Rossiness. Think about it. It was, how did he go from bad practice, bad qualifying, constant poor, to all of a sudden fastest in FP1, fastest in FP, constantly in the top 3, qualified on pole? It's because of me. That's right, MotoGP faithful listeners. I, Kevin 714, am taking full credit for the win that resurrected the excitement of MotoGP.
I knew it was divine intervention, but I kind of expected it to be I expected the Moto gods to be outside of Rossi. But
no, he is the Moto god. There aren't gods, they're one, and it's Rossi. Don't blaspheme in front of me. Heretic, I say.
At the Cathedral, of all places.
At the Cathedral in the final one. Divine intervention took place. Rossi saw the sacrifice. It gave him the power it needed. This isn't even not unlike Game of Thrones when that red-headed chick straight with that kid on fire so they could get the fucking light. It's basically the same thing. I burned myself alive in front of all of the watchers and all the posters on BARF so that a straight-up witch could bring the sun out and Rossi could triumph in front of everyone.
There really can't be any other explanation. Like, it has to be that.
No, that's what it is. I don't think it's odd that you're even considering there could be another one. Like, I don't even know what's happening right now. Because what happened is he took the power that I gave him, 40,000 plus posts on Online Motorcycle Club #1 for the AMA. and he took them, and he took the power, and he was fast all weekend long, and he got pole position when he needed to, and boom, fresh out the gate, flag to motherfucking flag. Hole shot, bam, got it. Gap Jorge had no response. And don't give me that tire bullshit either. Same goddamn tires at Mugello. It was the same tires, same construction. What was the difference? The sacrifice.
So how did the Moto godly power then kind of get in the way of Marquez? What happened there?
Marquez, the young upstart, the devil himself, the jester, the heretic, attempting to usurp the one true God. He was trying to have himself as an idol. This is no different than the Ten Commandments of Razi. Razi is the one true God. There is no God before him. And I will make no graven images. Marquez thought that he had the line. He thought that any other rider would get out of the way. Every other rider would cede position, but not when you have divine fucking power. Not when you have goddamn magic in your thing. When you take the bump, jump the bike, gas it on slicks over the gravel, and somehow gain position. Did you see him turn back and wheelie in front of him and let him know?
The onboard's actually pretty sick. You could hear him just like he gasses it right before the gravel to like pop the front wheel up a little bit, then the tires.
Right, because he knew, just like everyone watching that race knew. Everyone watching, when he tried to gap Marquez and Marquez came back, he knew because he could see into the future. Because past, present, future are all the same for Razi. You fight for titles 20 years later, it's all the same. He hasn't aged. He's like Keanu fucking Reeves. He is a straight-up god, a straight-up vampire, and he knew, just like every other one, that Marquez's only trick up his sleeve was an attempt to intimidate him. But you can't intimidate the god, for I am vengeance, Razi said, and I alone shall repay.
And with the self-immolation power that you've bestowed him. Like, did you actually really add power to Rossi, or did you just kind of appease him, make him
No, I
less
appeased
angry?
him. He was upset and frustrated. People doubted him. People, here he is, podiums, day in and day out. Every race, winning when he can. And Jorge wins one or two races, and all of a sudden, everyone forgets about him. Marquez wins a couple championships. Ooh, you won 2 titles. Whatever. Rossi had more than 2 titles before Marquez was even started racing.
Yeah, I think what Rossi was in GP with a title before Marquez even made it to 125s.
Right?
Yeah, long before.
He felt the shake of the faithful, that people were starting to second guess, could he do it? People were saying, oh, he's only in the title hunt because he's got a bunch of podiums. Oh, it's only because the Honda hasn't figured it out. Oh, Jorge just had a couple of bad rounds and then got himself back in the hunt. No. That was punishment to us for doubting him, and I will never doubt him.
Wait, why is this doubt happening again? Because people doubted him. I mean, obviously they doubted him when he went to Ducati.
It's the same thing with Moses, dude. God parted the Red fucking Sea in front of everyone, and what did all those Jewish guys do in the desert afterwards? They melted down all their gold into a cow and started worshiping it. Dude had straight up part of the seas, and 3 months later they're worshiping someone else. That's what humans do, because humans have inherent guilt and inherent fault because they don't trust in thy Razi.
So what? Just complete little faith that Rossi was going to continue to do what we should have expected him to do the entire time.
Precisely.
Terrible. So
Terrible.
is he going to
heretics? I tell you.
Do you think he's going to? How do you think Rossi feels about the fact that
I think he's going to win every single race from the get-go, and you can't shake my faith that that's going to happen.
No. Side question. How do you think he's going to feel about the fact that the race at the cathedral is going to be on the holy day next year?
I think any day that Rossi races is thy holy day, and I will hear no different.
I almost just spit my beer all over my computer.
Exactly.
That would have ruined the episode right there.
Right, exactly. Just like I gave up barf for the MotoGP version of Lent, you must give up beer so that Dovi can win a race.
Oh, God.
Which is why he won't ever win a race. Because you won't give up your beer.
Yeah, that's probably true. Damn it. God damn it. And I'm the one that has Dobie for the first Ducati win, too. Which,
Uh,
which you were totally right, by the way. It's looking
I'm
kind of.
not sure I feel comfortable moving from my sermon.
No, oh, sorry. Sorry on the sidebar. What's your next point there, Your Holiness?
Yes, I must be referred to now as Thy Holiness.
Well, you self-immolated yourself.
Yes.
Too many selves.
Kevin 714, blessed be upon him. Basically, I'm like Muhammad, and if you don't do what I say, my followers are going to suicide bomb your computers.
Oh God. Oh man. All right, so where do you want to go from here then? Can we talk about the not the last corner incident? Can we talk about the first pass for the lead of the race?
Allow me to continue to pontificate. I think Rossi was feeling him out.
Well, no, the first pass for the lead when Marquez got by him. You think that Rossi did that on purpose?
Of course.
He ran onto the grass though, and he
makes no mistakes and does everything perfect. Blessed be upon him.
So what you're saying is because he didn't purposely outbrake him into turn one, like he didn't try to keep it behind him, that Rossi did that whole thing on purpose.
Exactly.
I gotcha. And then
right.
I do think that it was a very good idea to let Marquez lead for a little bit, for Rossi just to size him up.
I think Marquez did. Marquez was, if we're going out of my sermon for a second, Marquez did, because Marquez only rides one race. He rides balls to the wall, 100%, and his tricks up his sleeve aren't actually tricks. Everyone else is intimidated by him except for Rossi. This is not the first time this season that Rossi and Marquez went head-to-head and Marquez made bonehead moves that everyone else watching knew he was going to do. And if I, watching, as only, a small peon not even worthy of basking in the radiance that is the sun and the moon god Rossi knew that he was going to do those moves. Rossi absolutely knew that last lap pass was going to happen in exactly the way it was going to happen.
So do you think it was Rossi's plan then to for sure lead into the final corner just to shut Marquez down and be like, yeah, you're gonna try your cliche, your move, but I'm gonna hold you off.
I think he knew 2 corners from that he was gonna go in that corner, and if he got bumped, he was just gonna stand it up and gas it. I have no doubt in my mind that he was either going to make the corner or he was going to blast straight out. He stood up way too fast from getting bumped. Rossi was not at fault. Marquez clearly went for a pass that he was not going to make, never got in front, and collided again because that's his move, and he tried to intimidate. Rossi didn't see the line, and the moment they touched, he just stood up and gassed.
Yeah, I mean, that's that godly vision right there of like he saw that his line there was no chance that he was going to be able to make the corner on track, right? Because Marquez ended up in the green stuff.
Marquez cut the corner too.
Yeah, exactly. So Rossi.
I just want to point out that this is such a miraculous, such a divine race that Rossi's former arch rival himself, the Moaner Casey Stoner, the former devil, the demon of the 800cc era, the killer of all that was fun and the master of all that was boring, agreed that Rossi was correct, that Marquez was in the wrong, and that Rossi clearly and cleanly won the race.
Yeah, that's actually pretty nuts that Moaner came back and actually agreed with that situation, how the way it is.
He's been converted.
No, he has not.
No, he has. He's got a shrine in his house.
You're saying Moaner has a Rossi shrine in his house now?
I'm saying he has a kangaroo, and inside the pouch is a Rossi shrine. He hides it from everyone, including his wife and his kid.
He should probably just hide it behind all the RC cars. No one would.
He should probably set it right next to all of those V8 supercard medals he didn't get.
Did he even finish a race? I don't even know.
He finished races, I think, but yeah, he was crashing and bumping everyone and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's hilarious. All right, back to your sermon there, Kev. What do you got?
What would you like me to discuss?
That's a good question. Discuss
from my golden pulpit.
How about the Rossi pass then? Rossi on Marquez through the that what was it, the left right sequence, right? So he essentially kind of motored around the outside a little bit and then managed to hold Marquez off on that pass. How much did you enjoy that?
The whole race, I was knowing that the race was going to come down to the last corner.
So were you not even paying attention to what was going on? You were just like waiting the whole time for the last corner?
I was basking in the pure divine ultra perfect glory. I knew that pass or no pass, that it was coming down to the last lap and probably that final chicane. Rossi had too much speed all weekend long. His race pace was solid. He was smooth as butter. He never looked out of sorts in all of practice. He was having a perfect weekend. It was all lining up exactly for what he needed. The weather, the tires, the new chassis. Basically, he had faith, I had faith, and it was delivered to him.
That new chassis is probably something else. Like, he seemed to get on with it right away because they got very little testing time at Aragon with it, and he still showed up Thursday morning with both bikes on the new chassis. They didn't even do it back to back.
No, because he had, again, where the theme of this show is you must have faith. He had faith that it was delivered the chassis that was required to vanquish evil. He just didn't know he would be vanquishing two evils simultaneously.
The Marquez evil of the young pretender and
the young pretender, the jester, Mephistopheles himself,
and the Jorge boring GP Lorenzo,
the great Satan who freezes all MotoGP and attempts to crunch his rivals to death, not unlike Dante's Inferno, down in the depths and the doldrums of boredom.
So which one is worse for GP at the moment?
Well, I would say Jorge until Marquez fucking kills someone.
Do you actually are you channeling your inner Ernie right now? Do you actually think that's gonna happen?
I think he's gonna hurt someone. I actually think that's gonna happen.
Really?
Yes, I think he's gonna take someone out and someone's gonna get hurt, or he's gonna hurt himself. I don't get me wrong. Win races, fuck bitches, make money is exactly what Marquez needs to do because that's like the greatest thing about racing, except for Rossi and his pure divinity. And he's trying to do that, and I can respect that, and I can respect those kind of things. But he's crashed a bunch. His best tactic to pass someone when it's a tight race is not racecraft or tactics or figuring out the opponent. It's just to muscle past them. That's his only thing. He doesn't set guys up in the same way that other guys, even Stoner, would do, where he'd figure them out like Jorge or I think it was Pedrosa at Laguna Seca. He just muscles his way past. He's just a bully for it. And you saw exactly what happened to him when it came back to bite him. He thought that he won, that he was in the right. In the press conference, he's sitting there explaining to everyone, in front of that God, as such a blasphemer heretic that he truly is, that he won. He's delusional.
I mean, I definitely see the delusion there, but I question how that actually applies to what's going to happen on track.
Because he learned nothing. If he thinks he won, and he thinks he was completely in the right, he thinks that tactic was correct.
But this is...
The tactic of just running into someone.
This is the only time where we could ever say that he's learned nothing, right? And I agree with you. But... I agree that he learned nothing, but I disagree that it was actually the wrong tactic. And we've seen him pull, crazy hard last corner moves before, and this one was rather mild compared to...
I'm not saying it was the wrong tactic.
Yeah.
Actually, I respect him for trying to get the win and going for it. My part that annoys me is... it didn't work, and instead of realizing, shit, that didn't work, I got to come up with something new or I got to adjust, he just went with, well, it actually worked, but they gave him the win. He never ceded that it didn't work.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
He never actually kind of said, oh, yeah, like, unsuccessful.
Right, like I went for it. He basically went with Rossi cut the corner and that Marquez thought he won.
Yeah.
And then he was saying he won. He felt like he won. It was a moral victory. It was this fucking moral victory bullshit. Only one guy gets to step on top, get the hottest fucking umbrella girl, fuck the bitches, smoke the weed, and get the gold. And that was not Marquez.
I mean, he might be referencing the fact that he's been nowhere in a lot of the other weekends, right? And they've been constantly complaining about like the aggressive corner entry and him unable to ride the bike. And he shows up to a track where Of course, he won here last year, but I mean, it's definitely a Yamaha track, and he shows up and manages to run with divinity.
Correct.
Right.
See, you're turning around. You're coming around.
So in that respect, it was a moral victory. But yeah, I think the way that Marquez said it during the press conference was a little. He didn't
Dude, he came off like a little bitch.
Yeah.
Marquez is actually. Remember when I said that Marquez should have jumped to Ducati because he's going to become the villain if he stays at Honda? Remember that? He almost did it last year. People actually started going with like anyone but Marquez. We don't want Marquez to win.
Yeah.
He's turning into it right now. Suddenly, he doesn't have the perfect bike, and he's struggling, and he's crashing, and he's riding dangerously. And now, instead of just being like, hey, man, my bike's out of control, I just had to go for the pass I could make, he's fucking coming off like a little bitch. He's complaining, he's bitching, he's not smiling. He's giving his little, like, now I know what I have to do. And then Rossi brings up, like, hey, man, you cut the corner and bumped me at Laguna. You know what I mean? Because, you know, Rossi's been sitting on that thing for fucking 2 years waiting for that shit to happen. Finally, it's coming back this year. And, you know what I mean? Because he instantly went with that retort right on him. And Marquez, you could see, like, oh, it wasn't the last lap. Well, who fucking cares? Like, you know, you pull the same shit, dude, and you fucking bumped a guy, cut the corner, all that, and got away with it for the win. And, you know, now someone else does it to him, and he's coming off, instead of being like, shit, you got me, he's fucking coming off like a little delusional crybaby.
This is some like Batman shit of like Two-Face descending into evil. And before,
right, exactly. Rossi, you don't think they don't call Rossi the Joker for nothing? He's fucking turning him into Two-Face. It's like the rebirth of Heath Ledger, dude, right in front of him. Except the guy's got mad motorcycle skills. He's not dressed like a fucking nurse.
It's gonna be quite hilarious how Marquez like takes all the criticism now, because you know people are giving him shit at the moment, like for essentially coming across like a little bitch. Like,
dude, even Livio Supo said that, like, you know, Rossi won already.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's
like,
what I was gonna say. Like, Supo has not exactly had his back, whereas other times Supo's been on Marquez's jock like he was on Stoner's jock, but that hasn't been happening for like the past like couple of rounds. So, and then after this race, Supo did exactly what we would have expected from Marquez and from HRC. He essentially just said, race direction decided it, it's done. And, and Marquez kept going. And that was why everyone pretty much thinks he's a little bitch now.
Right, and it's, you know, I mean, you know, again, it's the same thing, just like Batman. You either die a hero or you live long to become the villain. And he's turning into the villain right now. He can see it and he can feel it, and he don't like it. He's used to being the funny little Spanish imp who everyone loves, Rossi's little friend. He's got, I got posters of Rossi in my room, my parents' house, blah, 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 blah. And Rossi's like, yeah, dude, whatever. I'll fucking slam the door on you, see you on the way out.
So how the hell has Rossi had...
How? What do you mean, how?
No, there's only one correct answer here. Rossi has had such a long career, and he is, and still, when he passes someone for the win, you can hear the crowd cheer from the helicopter shot.
Because he's Jesus.
It was freaking ridiculous. Like, they would zoom in on the bikes, and like you'd hear a full-on MotoGP roar go by, and you could still hear the crowd every single time. And they're in the freaking Netherlands. It's not like they're in Italy or in Spain.
Right, because he's loved the world over.
It's amazing. I am surprised every single time that GP has become so dependent on Rossi's success for the series' success. And I'm going to be sad if the Divinity ever leaves the series.
Yeah, he'll leave when he decides to leave.
I like how people actually have been asking Jorge now, like, you know, when he's going to retire. Like, someone brought up Biaggi to him, and he was like, oh, yeah, like, now that we're really competitive and the Yamaha's the best bike, I could keep riding for a couple more years.
Right, a couple more years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's considerably younger than the other one, but, you know.
Right.
But, all right, let's get back to the action on track, though.
Okay.
Do you think... So I think you already said it, but do you think Marquez made the correct move?
He didn't crash, so I guess I have to say yes. I think he walked the tightest line you could possibly walk, because a third crash in a row would have been disastrous, especially when he actually got the bike working. You know what I mean? Finally, after a number of races, he was feeling like he was back. It was handling their kind of Frankenstein chassis was working.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would feel better about it if he didn't like whine and complain about it afterwards. He just said, "Hey, fuck it, man, I went for it because I'm trying to win a race." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's the part that I want to ignore, because I feel like so many people that are writing about this, and on the internet forums, on Barf, even on Moto Matters, like I feel like everyone's letting the shit that happened after.
Okay, look, if you're talking about last corner of the last lap of a tightly contested race, throw it up in there and see what happens. Sure. I can't fault him for that.
You think he should have gone harder?
I don't think he should have gone harder, because the nature of the turn meant he might have crashed too. Because it's not like Jerez where you can bounce off someone and then keep going. Because he collided and still went off track into the AstroTurf. If he was going any harder or had harder collision, or they went off, he could have easily gone into the turf, had a higher speed or a bigger lean angle or way more out of shape, and totally biffed it a la Ass in 2006.
I was hoping you were going to say that. Yeah, he would.
You know what I mean? So
he would have pulled.
I think the move was hard, but understandable and fair. I can't. I gotta respect that he went for it. He just didn't realize that he was going up against Moto Jesus himself.
Yeah, I mean, comparing to Asin, like you can see from the frontal shot that they have so much lean angle when they actually hit. Right. Like they were probably beyond 45 degrees of lean angle when they hit. And Marquez's bike like skipped, like the front tire like came off the ground, it set back down, the whole bike moved around, and I was just like, I gasped, I held my breath, and I was like, I can't believe that he actually stayed on two wheels.
Right. Yeah, luckily I was smart enough before I got suspended from Barf to log out because it was voluntary, so I could still read everyone's comments. And one guy said, like, basically he went from pure despair to pure joy in, like, the span of 2 seconds. You know what I mean? And that's basically what happened to me. My critique of the turn, if you want to go only on track, not anything like that, is everyone knew he was going to do it. It was the most telegraphed. Like, there was no question in anyone's mind watching. You had to know. I mean, at least to me, I completely knew that he was going to go for a bump pass at the end. He was going to throw it up on the inside and, and try and make it. So, was it the right move? I can respect it, but at the same time, Rossi knew he was going to do it. Everyone on track knew he was going to do it. Even idiot Julian Wright, who doesn't even know who Marquez is, probably thought it was like Danny Pedrosa, knew that he was going to do it. So, is a hard, bump pass really effective if the guy knows you're going to do it? He just fucking slammed the door on him and then motored off into the sunset like, Blazing Saddles, Moto Jesus.
I actually didn't know that Marquez was going to pull something like that until like 3 corners prior. Because like all the clips they've been showing of the onboards and stuff, and even watching the race, like Rossi pulled out 4/10 by the start of the final lap, and he pretty much kept that until like halfway through the course.
Marquez reeled him back in real fast, because to me I thought, again, Marquez. It's just like last race. He basically called a shot that he was going to win or crash. I knew he was going to try the same thing. So he was going to try boneheaded moves that basically had a gnat's, hair's breadth of actually happening to catch back up and try and pass. There was never a doubt in my mind that Marquez would do an insane attempt to pass Rossi for the win. Never a doubt in my mind. I
mean, what I feel like his line through Ruskenhoek, like the final left before the Timmer chicane, that's not Ruskenhoek, that's the Rams hook, right? But either way, his line through there and how much he pushed through there, that's what was surprising to me, because Rossi didn't take a defensive line through those corners. Like he was on pace from all of the other laps. It's not like he went slower, but Marquez still managed to pull up like 30 or 40 feet on him. And the Yamaha has been, Rossi, not Jorge, Rossi has been really strong through the fourth sector like the entire weekend. So for me, it was just like, I can't believe he managed to push through that left-hander and make up that much time on Rossi and like not tuck the front. Like it was just that was the crazy moment for me of just like, oh man, here it comes, it's building. Like it was great to see that, to see him pull up to Rossi and then build into that last pass, attempted pass.
Yeah, because it was not a pass. I keep saying bump pass. He never was in front of Rossi at any point. He was a couple feet short, even at their closest. Which is exactly why Rossi still won, even though he cut the corner. Because I think Phil Reed said, if you forget the final turn, if you pull it back to where the bump happened, Rossi was still ahead. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter by how much he won by. By cutting the turn, he never was behind. Marquez never got in front of him.
Oh yes, someone did say because they both went off track, the result should be taken before that corner, which means Rossi was ahead the whole time.
Exactly, that was Phil Reed, I believe.
Yeah, it wasn't even a couple feet though. Like I'm pretty sure Marquez had his front tire like at Rossi's like front axle. Like it was a matter of inches, which was.
I don't think he ever had that far. He was like right at his elbow. I don't know if it was past his elbow or not. I can't remember, but.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't matter how it only matters that you arrive first. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter by how much.
No, not at all. Races still get won on thousandths of a second.
Yep, exactly. So, or on your knees, coming off of the turf and never getting back on, like Moto3. Which who would have thought that would be not the most miraculous thing that happened in the final turn of that weekend?
Yeah, I think David Emmett pretty much said that was the second loudest cheering moment, like for the whole weekend.
Right.
Like the crowd cheered like crazy for Nicholas Io, and then it was only topped by Rossi actually winning the race.
Right. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, you watch the end of Moto3, Nicky Io gets completely out of sorts and actually comes off of the bike, blows the turn, and goes like 40 feet off track into the turf and the gravel, hanging off the side of the bike, somehow turning it. I have no idea how, getting it back online and basically skitched like a stunter off the side of the bike on his knees to cross the finish line. It's intense.
Yeah, no, he was on the right side of the bike and he made a left turn.
Yes.
In the grass. It wasn't AstroTurf. It was actually grass.
Right. I have no idea how he was able to turn the bike. It's the weirdest thing. Like, I mean, I obviously I know how because there was divine revelation and intervention all weekend long.
Yeah, but Nicky Io, he must have actually used himself to like tripod the bike because he was on the wrong side, so he had to like push the bike over to the left and get it to turn that way. And
right, he was like digging his knee into the tarmac or the grass and pushing the bike to the left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet for me because Nicky Io, he crashes way too much, right? Like his best finish, I think, in Moto3 is like a 5th or something, and then he's got like 1 or 2 finishes in the top 10. Well, not 1 or 2, like a couple in the top 10, and then most of all of his other results are either out of the points or crashes.
Yeah, he's basically just like Axel Pons. He's just there on a really good bike on a really good team because of family relations. He doesn't deserve or have earned his ride in any way, shape, or form.
Well, he's not. Thankfully he's not on his dad's team anymore, and he's actually doing a little bit better.
Right, which is just like Axel Pons, who finally got booted.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
Oh man, and of course Nicky Io did not score any points. He got 17th, even though he finished in such amazing fashion.
He scored moral points.
Yeah, I'm sure the team gave him a huge pat on the back for that one, for sure.
He scored. Yeah, well, he got them lots of sponsor exposure. That's for sure, because that thing's been played all over the book face.
I love how people have made GIFs about it and have essentially captioned it like, "This is how you win a race." And it's like, no, that's how you finish 17th.
Right. That's how you salvage. That's how you don't get hurt, not how you win a race.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So yeah, going back to the hurt thing, I'm kind of the opinion that the little pretender that Marquez is actually still doing a good job at de-escalating his his crashing and not his crashing, but his intensity with other riders. Like,
I don't know, really. I mean, this is the second time he's had contact with the championship leader and knocked himself off the track. I mean, like he did it in Argentina and he did it again here. He could have easily crashed this race. He hit the grass and just basically managed not to crash. But again, it's just another incident. Is he really de-escalating, or is it just he hasn't been close enough to the front to matter?
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is when he's not at the front, he seems to crash by himself.
Right.
Like even Argentina, like he was battling with Rossi for the win. It was essentially him attempting to pass back, even though there was no chance he was going to win that race because of his poor tire choice. And then here too, right? It's battling for the win. Like his other crashes this season, he's been battling, hardly for a podium position, and has just taken himself out. So I still lean more that he will get hurt. I think it's going to be himself, though. I don't think he's going to take someone else out.
Yeah. Speaking of taking people out, how about Jack Miller's first 5 turns?
Yeah, I don't actually remember seeing it on the feed. I just read stuff about it.
They didn't show it. They just showed the crash. But if you go back and read it, Eugene Laverty's take is awesome. He ran into Laverty, bounced off him, hit Bautista, and then finally ran into Nicky and crashed himself out. He's literally riding a MotoGP bike like a Moto3 bike and just fucking pinballing himself off people.
Oh no, yeah, he hit Nicky and then he actually took out Barbara, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Right. Yeah, he took out Hector. Right.
Yeah, and then Nicky ran off track and he had to fight back for 16th place or something, which was helped by other people crashing out. I think DeAngelis went out later in the race too.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you think he's getting frustrated with the fact that he's not really he's had a few good showings, right? The beginning of the weekend on Thursday, he somehow made it into 11th place in FP1 or FP2, and then the results just went downhill from there.
Yeah, I think he's just. I would be frustrated if I was him. It's kind of like Scott Redding, right? He thought, oh shit, Honda's going to put me into MotoGP on a good team, blah blah blah. But he got a fucking piece of shit bike. It would have been better to just give him last year's prototype instead of this year's, a production bike. The bike just sucks. The production bike is not good for a MotoGP bike. So sticking a kid on the bike and say, hey, here, go ride this. And then Nakamoto at one point said that he was kind of disappointed in his results. I'm like, look at any of the other production riders. None of them are doing good. You know what I mean? Laverty's kind of coming along because he's got a couple parts and stuff, but you take a guy who's never even ridden a Moto2 bike and stick him on a MotoGP bike and then stick him on a crappy bike, but he's still young and Australian and mulleted. He's trying to get results.
Yeah, and I mean he's obviously trying too hard because you can't do that in GP. I mean, thankfully he's not on the Avintia Yamaha or whatever, right? Because that bike you have to be smooth and you cannot push.
The what? The Avintia Yamaha? What the fuck are you talking about?
The fucking what Baz and Brattle are riding. Are they not?
That's the forward Yamaha. Avintia has got that Frenchman and Barbara on the Ducati.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry.
How many beers do you have?
The one is gone. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
They're not even. They're not even sponsored by Ford anymore. They lost that sponsorship.
They lost that. No, Forward is the team. The name. That's the name of the bike. It's the team itself. It's just they were sponsored by an Italian mobile company.
Oh, that's what it was.
Right. They kept the same color scheme, but they don't have it on their bikes anymore.
Oh, it's the Athena Ford freaking Yamaha.
Right.
Wrong second syllable of the A word. But whatever.
Right.
Whatever. Jack Miller's not on that bike. He's on a Honda that he should be able to ride hard for one lap because they've got a prototype engine now. It's too aggressive for the electronics, which are terrible. I read another article a couple days ago that the upgrade to the electronics this year is giving the open teams so much trouble because they essentially went from in the electronics they have tables of data that they can adjust. It's
right.
And they went from 1.5 tables and then a bunch of like single parameters to 6 tables. So all those single parameters were changed from a single parameter to a table.
Right. I know that like on Nikki's Instagram, he's always posting like, "Got to get these electronics figured out." It's like the one thing you constantly kind of get from him is that like the electronics are complicated. And it's not like Nikki hasn't ridden a bike with nice electronics. I mean, he was riding throughout the 800cc era and all that. Just they overly complicated. The bike took a huge step. That's the thing about Jack Miller. Like they should have just gave him last year's bike with the seamless. Like, why even have him try to figure out how to use how to clutch and ride a seamless bike or a normal bike when he's just going to ride a seamless one next year or the following year? Like I don't know. To me, I'm starting to think it was a big mistake for Miller to skip Moto2 because of the kind of bike that he went to.
I mean, I've been thinking that pretty much since it was announced that Jack Miller was coming in, because we knew that Honda was not really going to provide any support to their lowest teams, right? They don't provide enough support for the satellite teams, let alone for the Honda production teams.
Right, let alone for this, for the production bike, with some rookie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he's a rookie. Like everyone thought that maybe his team was going to get more support because he's got a contract with HRC and he's kind of like the young talent that they're bringing in to maybe potentially move up to another bike later. But with his results this year, he's going to have to seriously turn it around towards the end of the season. Because I
actually think they might have signed him to keep the other manufacturers from getting him. I don't really think that he's necessarily like who they see, oh shit, this is our future, because Marquez is still so young.
Yeah.
But I kind of think that was kind of signing him so that like Tech 3 didn't sign him.
Yeah, so many people had the opinion though that when Pedrosa retired that Miller was going to get that seat.
Nah.
And I mean, there's still a slight possibility that's going to happen because they're not going to take Crutchlow and they're definitely not going to take Redding. But
no, they're going to headhunt Iannone.
That'd probably be a pretty damn good idea. You should not announce that because I'm not sure I want him to go ride for them. I think I'd rather have him stay at Ducati.
Yeah. Speaking of him, another top 5. I don't think he's finished out of the top 5 this whole season. It sucks he couldn't get the podium, but man, did he dispatch that whole crew that was battling for fifth.
Yeah, that was a really, really good battle. Like they were and it was nice that Iannone was only in that for like 3 laps and then he was able to pull away. Like if he had gotten kind of stuck in there like Dovi did, it probably would have been a little bit more messy. And I mean, Pol Espargaro came out on top. Who saw that one coming?
Yeah, really. So I mean, again, the only real reason anyone other than is that Dovizioso's rear tail cracked and was vibrating the bike like crazy. I mean, you saw he was catching Iannone, and then all of a sudden he drops like a stone at the end of the race. He had another mechanical, which is kind of the third one in a row or something like that. But shit happens. New bike. It is Ducati, and that's really the only reason Espargaro even was up there anyway, was because Dovizioso's bike broke.
Yeah.
Like literally a piece broke.
Yeah, I think Dovi managed to get by Aleix though, I think at the end there, right? And did he get in front of Bradley? I can't remember.
I don't know. Baldy?
Yeah, Baldy. Yeah, Baldy was actually having a pretty good weekend. Like for when he was running a race by himself, or when he was running laps by himself, his pace was actually pretty good. Like I expected more of him than where he finished. I
think that he's kind of realizing his time at Yamaha might be up soon, and he's having like a solid contract year. You know what I mean? Like he's getting good enough results that a nice satellite team will take him.
Oh no, I mean with the way the season is going, he will keep the Tech 3 ride, and Yamaha and then Pol's ride will go to someone else.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I think Pol's kind of a bust.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, he'd probably do better on the Honda or the Ducati, but he's just been complaining about how he can't ride. Like, you cannot ride that M1 aggressively. Like, he cannot ride it like a Moto2 bike. Like, he's the only Yamaha rider that's been complaining of arm pump, right?
Right.
And he just got that surgery, and he said it's still an issue. So
yeah, it came back. Right. He had the surgery, and it's still coming back.
Yeah, so either he's doing something wrong physically and that's what's causing the arm pump, or he's just actually riding the bike incorrectly. Which it was kind of
Yeah,
funny because last year at Le Mans, like Yamaha kind of gave him the the freedom to like ride more aggressively, and he kind of pursued that setup, and it worked for a little bit. You know, he had some flashes of brilliance, but it definitely has not been working this year, even though the chassis and the bike is supposed to be immensely better. So I don't know. Maybe he'll get the chassis that Rossi just got rid of, and he'll do a little bit better after that.
yeah, and I know they don't have the full seamless, which again makes a huge difference on corner entry, especially when your bike is a corner entry bike.
Yeah.
If it's seamless both directions, and getting drive out. So who knows? But I do think that Yamaha. I mean, look at fucking Lynn Jarvis, man. He was a fucking like stone cold to Spies, and he was like, I don't even want Rossi back. So you think? I mean, he's looking at Espargaro's results and going, let's just get someone else.
God, it sucks. It's like
Because remember,
Bradley.
Espargaro is signed to Yamaha. It's Bradley that's signed to Herv. We said this before. I think Bradley's ride is safer than Pole's is, because Bradley, the way Tech 3 works is that one rider is contacted directly with Yamaha, and then the other one is contacted to Tech 3 through Herv, which is how Bradley basically got that choice to begin with.
Yeah, and has kept it for so long.
And has kept it for so long. And I think that Yamaha might give Pole the boot. I don't know. I have a hard time thinking they're going to really try to muscle Herv into keeping Pole and getting rid of Bradley. They're just going to find someone else and be like, okay, time to look for a new guy. Pole's not our future. So certainly not with Rossi riding in his current form.
So if you had to pick a Moto2 rider, who would you take for the Yamaha Tech 3 spot?
Zarco's looking solid, man. I'd probably take Rins if it were me, if I really had to choose, who they already said they wanted straight from Moto3 anyway.
Yeah.
But I'd probably take Alex Rins as the more potential talent than Zarco, who's just been kind of like finally, a Moto2 journeyman, so to speak, who's really just got that set up and dialed in. He's kind of a Moto2 specialist. I'd probably take Rins and say there's more upside in the future to that. And Rins, you could tell him, like, look, man.
You take Rins as like the next Vinales.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about that. I think Vinales is better than Rins, and I think that we've seen the difference in Vinales' first year on the same bike in Moto2, getting wins and podiums and, scoring a shitload of points, and he beat Rins, for the Moto3 title. I think Rins stuck around because he was hoping for he's a Honda loyalist, and he's hoping for the fast track to Honda's, factory bike, but I don't think he's going to get it.
Dude, no one should be a Honda loyalist in this paddock. I don't know why people still have that idea.
It boggles my mind, actually. You're right. It's really something. Like, they're not the bike and engineering company that people think they are.
Yeah, it's like, there is some sort of mystic attitude going on in the paddock where everyone thinks that Honda's the way to go because, maybe it's because they have been very successful, but haven't they been, they've been beat by Yamaha in the 4-stroke era. Like, they just, it's not the way to go. They don't support their riders. They focus on the factory team. Everyone else gets like second pickings, and the satellite Hondas and the production Hondas are not the bikes to be on. Like, if you
and has anyone gone from a satellite Honda to the factory team? I'm really, they brought what's his name Marquez. Casey Stoner was brought laterally. I guess Dovizioso was the last guy that graduated from the satellite to the factory.
Yeah,
and that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, and like, what about anyone else in the?
And then remember he had a 3-year contract, and they tried to boot him. Remember, or 2-year contract, and he actually had to sue them to keep his ride.
Yeah, they tried to push him out for Stoner, which would have been a good play on their part, but yeah, was against his contract.
Right. So, meanwhile, I don't know. The Hondas, there's more politicking involved, probably because of the amount of money that Repsol spends, and their satellite bikes definitely seem to be a tick behind. I think the last people that they really gave actual factory support to was Simoncelli.
Oh, you mean like a factory bike in a satellite team?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Simoncelli's second year was a straight up factory bike in San Carlo paint schemes.
Yeah, exactly. And
You know
that's,
what I mean?
I mean,
That
and that's
was
only
the
because it was they had to because it was in the rules, right? Because they wanted to bring him into the factory team, like they were grooming him for that, but they couldn't run. Like he had when he came into GP, everyone called it the Ben Spies rule, but it was actually the
it
Marco
was actually the
Simoncelli rule.
Simoncelli rule, right? Spies was never going to the factory team, but Simoncelli could have and was probably going to.
Yeah.
And then when he went to Grassini, not to go on tangents here, but then Grassini let Marco Melandri ride the higher spec bike that first year. But then the second year, he was given the full factory treatment, basically an HRC factory bike.
Yeah. Yeah, they just, I mean, like Crutchlow's results are Crutchlow's results are pretty reflective of the level of the satellite Honda. Like he's not consistently beating the Tech 3 bikes. And they've been complaining, him and Redding have been complaining about rear grip the entire year. Like
Redding is complaining enough that he was sort of lamenting that he could have been on a Ducati.
yeah.
I mean, at this point, a guy on the satellite Honda is lamenting he could be on a GP 14.2. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell does that say about Honda's level of commitment?
Do you think that's Redding or do you think that's Honda? Like, do you think that's the bike or you think that's the rider?
I don't know what you mean.
Like, okay, so if Redding went to Ducati, do you think he'd actually do better, or do you think he'd still do shitty because he can't ride a GP bike?
I don't know, actually. That's a good point. Would he do better on a Ducati? Everyone, not Marquez, is doing better on the Ducati. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, to me, the performance of Petrucci shows that the concessions combined with Ducati's platform this year is solid. And if Redding was on a GP 15, I think no doubt he would be doing better.
Okay, yeah, I could go with that because Petrucci's still on like the GP 14.1 at most. He's not like Yanni has the newer satellite Ducati, and so I mean yeah, it's totally okay that Petrucci's not battling with the satellite Yamahas and the satellite Hondas the entire time because he's on a bike that we know was not very good. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of agree that if Redding was on the GP15, he'd probably be doing better. And the nice thing is, if to be on a GP15 this year, he'd have to be in the factory team, which means he'd actually be getting the support that he needed to improve as a rider.
Well, a couple of things. Redding has that crazy lean Moto2. Redding has a spectacular looking style. His lean angle and body positioning is awesome, right?
That's only because he makes a GP bike still look like a Moto3 bike.
Right, but what I'm saying is if he had a Ducati, he has access to the softer option, which probably makes him qualify better. I mean, they've talked about it before that qualifying, having access to that softer tire and getting a good qualifying is such a confidence boost for the riders. Redding right now is struggling even to get into Q2, and I think if he suddenly had access to the softer tire and the Ducati, that he would probably give him that confidence boost enough to really want to push. I mean, right now he seems like he's lost, and the interviews reflect it.
Oh yeah, he just like the look in his eyes is crazy. He has no idea what's going on.
Nope. And I think that he, it's just it goes back to why, right? Because in 2004 and 5, the Honda, they gave everyone and their fucking mother a factory Honda, Biaggi and everyone, and Tamada, and set to try to beat Rossi on the Yamaha.
Yeah, there were like 6 of them on the grid. At least.
And they were all factory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they were giving these guys all factory bikes. So I remember Kenny Roberts. There's an interview with Road Racer X, a cool old school magazine. It's not around anymore. And it was asking him, how do you win? And he's like, a Honda with Michelins. Just not even saying adjust anything or tactics. Just give me a Honda with Michelins, because at the time they were just throwing around satellite or factory bikes like it was going out of style.
It has 5 cylinders. How could it not win?
Right, exactly. Right, it had an extra cylinder that was basically a counterbalancer.
So I kind of have to fault the team, though, too, for Redding, right? Because he's on a bike that we've seen is difficult to set up, and it's a rider that doesn't have experience with the factory spec electronics, and it's a new team that has no GP experience before. Like they literally built the perfect storm of you're going to end up with a rider with no confidence and you're going to be battling in like, 10th place.
Yeah, it's true. It's funny because I picked Redding to be the better of the Honda Satellite riders this year, and that was just completely wrong. But but it's exactly like he's getting beaten by guys like you're talking about a Moto2 winner and a guy that fought for the title. Like everything should have lined up if you follow like how history works in GP for him to be doing pretty well. But instead he's losing to guys on year-old satellite Ducatis that like were never anyone in any series. They were always mid-card or backpack, or back of the pack guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for him, it's just got to be so disheartening for like, what the fuck do I do? You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I mean, he spanked Yanni Hernandez in Moto2, like just completely destroyed him, and now he's having to fight with him in GP on a bike. His bike should be better. Like
it certainly looks better. That thing looks, I don't care, fast or slow or crash or whatever, that fucking Australia Galicia team fucking bike looks pimp.
Yes, it does.
Those blue wheels are sweet. I love there's like a whole trend of blue wheels on the grid this year.
Wait, you said Australia Galicia. No, that's not right.
Yes, it is. They're combined with his team. He's on the team from that billionaire, but no, look it up. Remember those two teams like combined their sponsors into like the 3-tier team. Look at his bike, dude.
All right, I'll go with that. Not enough beer.
Yeah, remember they announced it. That's one of the reasons why I think they're going to throw a stink. I said this a couple podcasts ago, better than the last one. That team's not going to put up with this shit. That is a solid team that's running multiple bikes across multiple classes, basically attempting to be the feeder system and run Honda's like sort of minor league farm system, and they got a bike that sucks, and they're not getting a lot of help from the factory, and they're and the results are showing. I think they're not going to put up with that shit.
Really? So what are they going to do then? Like,
I just think they have more pull than former satellite teams did. There's the whole politics thing with Repsol and and how they get more money and they make the other bikes not as good. But I think they're putting a lot of money in across the board, and they might be able to kind of politic a little more and get, we need some factory technicians over here, and we need some serious help because it's not working.
Well, I mean, so the nice thing is next year they don't have to worry about electronics nearly as much because they will be on the same spec as everyone else.
Except next year he might not even be on the bike.
You think taller baby Marquez is going to be on it instead?
He certainly lined up for it, although this year I don't know.
He's going to have to win like the last 3 races of the season to give it, well, and that'll be too late, right? But he's going to have to pull out some results pretty fast in order for people to consider putting the younger Marquez on that GP bike. I was confused by Australia Galicia because everyone refers to the team as Mark VDS, which is
so the team is run by VDS, but the sponsors and it's like a cooperative endeavor between Mark VDS and Australia team, like across all boards, like to co-promote their sponsors and stuff. So they have all the same sponsors.
Yeah, because Mark VDS, like that guy's practically a billionaire, and of course he's going to be able to get like one of the strongest lower class sponsors to support each other.
Right.
Of course.
He's got a lot of, and again, billionaires don't become billionaires because they're nice fucking people. Let's be perfectly honest. If you're a billionaire, you're a total piece of shit. But sometimes being a total piece of shit means you fucking get stuff done. He's probably got Nakamoto on speed dial, son. I will buy Repsol Honda if you don't give us a better bike.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if he could like sponsor Repsol and essentially just become like the factory squad or something.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, Nakamoto's card is that Redding just doesn't deserve it. Like, the results aren't there. He's not doing as well as Crutchlow. You'd hope that even on the crappy bike that is the Satellite Honda, he'd be closer up. But whatever. I mean, maybe he needs a new seat unit or something to move his butt further back, and that'll help.
Yeah, and maybe they're right, and he just doesn't have the body for a MotoGP bike. I mean, you can't be 5'5" and play in the NBA, and you can't be, 6'5" and be a jockey. Maybe he's just too big and too long to ride a bike. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Right.
All right, what else do we got to cover? Do you want to go back to your sermon there? Do you got more Rossi love to spout?
Oh, I could pontificate for hours. I could stand in the pulpit and filibuster the next 4 podcasts if I needed to.
You know what I need you to do? I need you to somehow get a hold of Rossi, and I need you to ask him how he managed to pull like that slight wheelie over the gravel and to actually like make it through the gravel what seemed like freaking out of a cannon. Because how did the traction control not kick in on the gravel and just like make him stop?
Yeah, that was odd. He actually like picked up speed.
That's what it looked like. And
I know the answer, divine intervention. I mean, come on now, man.
And
he parted the gravel for the tarmac underneath, got the grip, and went. We already know the dirt. The dirt has a good grip. Yeah, remember at Laguna.
He goes into the gravel and he push.
Yeah, exactly. I think it worked out too much. I think he had a contingency plan. He was going in, and if he got bumped or touched, he was just gassing it.
Yeah, it was definitely the perfect storm of Marquez was just a little behind. He like definitely contacted Rossi, which gave Rossi like sort of like the permission from race control that he could cut the corner. Like everything worked out perfectly. It was freaking divine intervention.
And plus, Rossi's like, have you seen his fucking driveway? His like driveway is a TT track. You know what I mean? Like,
are you talking about the ranch? Or
look at it, dude. It's like his fucking driveway to the ranch is like a straight up TT track with a little bunny hop in the middle. You know what I mean? Like the guy fucking rides that every day.
Sorry, I haven't stalked Rossi that much to know what his driveway looks like.
You mean you haven't loved Rossi that much?
That's the same thing, right?
Stalking is such an ugly word for such a beautiful thing.
Oh man, you need to get yourself a press pass for like Indy or something,
right?
And, or for Coda, I mean, and
no, Coda already happened, bro. And Marquez won.
Well, yeah, but next year, I mean.
Oh, next year?
Yeah.
I can go for Indy.
You got to end up in the box, and then you need to ask Rossi something that is completely unrelated to GP racing.
Right.
You could.
I want to ask him about that time there was that picture of the paparazzi where he had his hand on that chick's titty and then she moved it away. Like, did he slap her afterwards?
What?
You don't remember that?
No, I did not see that.
There was like some. I saw it because I was there hiding in the closet.
Oh, that's awesome. Good job, Kevin.
Double entendre with the hiding in the closet.
You just gotta tell him that you self-immolated on the internet for him to appease him to win this race.
Oh no, I definitely feel that he owes me the trophy.
The whole trophy.
The whole trophy.
Not like a glove or something.
Well,
like
Jesus didn't get half a cross. I want the whole trophy.
I wonder how many people you just offended with that line.
Well, fuck those people.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right,
exactly.
So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do for Sachsenring then?
I don't know, because I already told that guy he was a fucking piece of shit.
And now everyone knows why you got suspended from the.
Right, exactly. If you don't know why I got suspended, just look in Sidewalk Sig Line. It links to the post.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
You texted it to me, so it was okay. I got to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so Sachsenring, how do you feel about that track for Rossi's chance there? He got fourth last year.
Yeah, and you know what? I think he's going to podium again. He's podiuming at the tracks that he didn't do well at last year. He's like. Other than Marquez and Lorenzo, right, when they're on form, no one else, I just can't see anyone else beating him. You know what I mean? Maybe Dovizioso, but it's like, like, is Cal and Bradley Smith and Espargaro going to, like, get together and be like, we're going to form a phalanx wall in front of Rossi to not let him pass us? I mean, come on, man. No one else other than those two guys even has half the talent of him. Well, it's hard for me to imagine he's not going to get it.
All the other guys do that anyway because he qualifies in 8th, and they just form a wall for at least half a lap to keep him back there.
Right, and he still gets a podium. You know what I mean? Like, He's, every race, if he can continue, Assen is a good track for him. So I'm not saying that everything that worked so perfect in this race is going to carry over. It's one of his better tracks. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I think he has greater than a 50% win rate at Assen in
right.
GP.
It's his 9th win or something like that. Like, it's ridiculous, right? But I think, again, it's hard for me to vote against him unless Dovizioso's woes kind of go away. And I think, again, that just like I said, there's no way Lorenzo wins because you don't win 5 in a row. I have a hard time thinking Dovizioso is going to have 3, this is his 4th mechanical oddity in a row.
Oh, he's getting a completely new bike for the next round. There is no way Ducati's going to let that happen again.
Right. So, to me, get rid of that cheater motor that's got 320 horsepower and breaks fucking bikes and shreds sprockets. Put the normal one back in. Didn't work out. It's okay. You cheat. You're not cheating. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. I get it.
Yeah.
But
he broke how do you break a carbon subframe?
Right.
He'd been running with it all weekend. How do you just do it during the race? That was the worst possible timing. But last year it was Marquez, Danny, and Jorge.
But again, Danny again comes back. He's finding fitness, and what does? He fucking annihilates himself in warm up.
Yeah.
Where did he even finish last race? He was 9th or something.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, and I just have a hard time thinking. Marquez is significantly faster and more talented than Danny. I say that. I'm a big fan of Pedrosa, and it takes everything Marquez has to fight at the front. I just don't think Danny's going to be day in and day out a factor compared to Rossi, who looks like he's on the best bike, who just got a sweet-ass upgrade that worked out perfect. And he not only that, but he's high off of just, dispatching the reigning champ. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he can definitely carry that over for 2 weeks. It's going to be... I will not be surprised if Rossi manages to be first in FP1 and it just sends Marquez, on a tumble. And he starts doing something silly. That.
It just started pouring rain at my house.
That's quite odd.
Yes.
Good thing you brought the cats in.
Yes. It's not rain, it's manna from heaven sent by thy God. Because of my faith, because of my unadulterated faith in him to win and be on the podium day in and day out.
Rossi was rewarding California with the water it so does.
Right. And not only did I single-handedly end the drought of entertainment in MotoGP, I'm single-handedly ending the drought. It's going to rain for 40 days and 40 nights.
Oh, God. No, I have to race in 3 weeks. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Then I'd have to put the stupid little rain light on my bike.
Well, luckily me and Dennis are going to be your umbrella boys, so you'll be covered.
Yeah, do you want a pit pass? I might still be able to swing that.
Yes. Yes, I do. Just so you know, I'm coming in full I'm coming in a giant, yellow priest outfit.
Wait, is it going to be a banana shape or actually the robes? Priest?
No, it's going to be exactly like a priest robe with the Pope hat and everything, except it's going to be yellow.
Bright yellow. Are you going to have 46 on your back or just on the hat or what?
Tatted on my face.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Too bad you're going to have to cheer on Tom Sykes or something.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, speaking of Superbike, did you see Checa just finished a 3-day test on the Panigale R?
Yeah, he did 150 laps.
Is he riding? Are they is Dorna just throwing money at every ex-champ? When's Troy Corser going to race? Seriously.
So supposedly Checa tested because Scassa is injured. And because Scassa injured when in the last round, right? Because he was going to be a replacement for someone and he high-sided and hurt his ankle or something. And that's why Pirro raced.
My boy.
Yeah, your boy raced. I'm sure you didn't watch it. But yeah, so Scassa's not testing, so they needed someone, so they called up Checa. And it's good to see that Checa's healed up from his kind of career-ending injuries.
Yeah. That was kind of a crappy way to go out.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because, it would have been nice to see him go out a little bit better. But yeah,
not everyone can go out like Biaggi as the fucking champ.
Well, you have to downgrade a class and then win, and then you can go out.
Right. You know what? Whatever, dude. Biaggi's a 6-time world champion. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he won the title for Aprilia, which Aprilia had never gotten the 4-stroke, World Superbike title. Hats off to Biaggi, man. He resurrected his career from getting blacklisted, turned it around, repartnered with his old team, and he made it work. And then he won as an older guy. He outfoxed them and won that title by like half a point or something, and then retired, man. 6-time world champ. You can't knock that.
Yeah. Yeah, much respect for Biaggi. He's no divinity, but much respect.
Right, he doesn't have exactly. He doesn't have superpowers.
But yeah, so I don't think that Cheka is going to come back. I know I said that about like all the other riders and that have been testing for their respective factories, but I don't think Cheka is going to do it. I think the fact that he went out on injury and this is like his first test back, I don't think there's any way. Because Ducati has Pirro. So if they need to put someone in, they'll put Pirro in. It's not going to be Checo.
Right.
So.
Well, I'm not saying they need to put someone in. As part of me wonders if Dorna and World Superbike are just saying, like, let's kick you a little extra money to run a third bike and have him out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no, I know. I just can't see. I mean, I guess why did Biaggi did it because Aprilia kind of wanted to show off, because when Biaggi came back, he wasn't in the Aprilia team that was in the series. He was like the factory, by himself team.
That's what I'm saying. They don't even actually have a factory team this year. Yeah, that's basically a pseudo factory satellite team, a private team.
Yeah, but Ducati's a little bit. I think the Ducati team in World Superbike is a little tighter with the factory than Aprilia.
Yeah, they're an actual factory team.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. What's your prediction for GP? We got to close this one up.
We mean there's nothing to predict. Rossi's going to win every single race from now on until he retires.
Well, I want to know the rest of the podium.
Oh, Iannone.
Second or third?
I think Iannone is going to get a third.
Who's in second?
Well, Lorenzo. I think it's going to be Lorenzo Rossi show coming up here.
I definitely also agree that it's going to be the Lorenzo Rossi show. I want to put Iannone in third, but I think Marquez will do it. Because I think, is Jorge going to get the soft edge tire? Do you have any recollection of that? Because Sachsenring is really hard on the left side of the tire, so they might not put very much edge grip there. But I mean, Jorge didn't do that great last year. He was 10 seconds back of Marquez and 8.5 seconds back of Danny. So it was definitely a Honda show last year.
Right. And I mean, this is like, and it's kind of like we were talking about how competitive the top 10 is. A podium this year, the only real guy you can pencil in is Rossi because he's never been off of it. He's been on it every race.
Yeah.
But you've had Cal Crutchlow podium, you've had Iannone podium, you've had Marquez, you've had Lorenzo, you've had Dovizioso. Like, assuming the Ducatis are on point, Dovizioso doesn't have any problems, getting on the podium is solid. I think that...
Yeah, I mean, and Danny should be more competitive again. Like, he was pretty competitive in practice at Assen, and I think he's going to carry that through when his bike...
Depending on how hurt he actually is.
Yeah, he didn't seem to be that hurt. Like, in that crash, he just kind of slid on his side. He was like... He had mechanicals throughout the entire race, which is why he was so far back. It wasn't a physical thing.
Right.
Like, it was like he said he had air in the brake lines, which made it impossible to fight with that badass group that was battling for what turned out to be 5th spot. So, when you have to guess about where your brake lever is going to go, and if it kind of touches the bar, you can't exactly outbrake someone, even a late.
No, yeah, you can't really make a pass.
Yeah, no, you brake early so you don't kill someone. Wait, well, Marquez wouldn't though. Marquez. Yeah,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Rossi, Iannone, Lorenzo in some order.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna do Rossi, Jorge, and Marquez. I think Iannone will... I think Dovi's going to come back and he's going to get 4th, and Iannone will be 5th.
Huh.
Yeah, because like you said, there's no way Ducati is going to let him have another mechanical.
I just think, man, he rode a really measured, solid race last weekend.
Yep, that's true.
So.
Oh man. All right. I think we're
Okay.
good. Do you have any parting words for your boy Rozzy?
I think I said it all.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. We might be able to bring you a in-person, more live recording from Laguna in a couple of weeks. But we'll have plenty more to talk about before that. So, peace.
Peace.